Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is the health benefits from connecting children with nature. Yes, children and nature, the health benefits. Now, I'm extremely fortunate to live in the Hudson Valley, 90 miles north of New York City. Right outside my window here, I have an 80-mile mountain range called the Shawangunk Ridge. Most of that mountain range is protected by state preserves. It's fantastic. But I've lived in several different places across the country, and I got to tell you, there's beautiful areas everywhere. There's outdoor everywhere. The benefits of being outdoors is amazing. No matter what time of the year, it is just amazing. Now, if you live in New York City, if you live in a bigger city, there's lots of parks, there's lots of outdoor things that you can still do. So no matter where you are, there's always a possibility to get outside and enjoy. So this article that I found on medicalexpress.com, it is from February 23rd, 2016, and it's February 23rd, so this is very current news. Health benefits from connecting children with nature. Spending time in nature improves mood, reduces stress, and promotes better physical health. Despite the countless benefits, it has become more increasingly difficult to separate ourselves from our busy schedules, electronic devices, and creature comforts to spend time outside. Helping children connect with nature is a critically important, experts say. In addition to the health benefits, spending time together outside can promote stronger parent-child attachments, teach children that natural resources are not limitless, and inspire them to protect our environment. The University of Alabama, Dr. Boxmeyer offers some ideas that may help. You know, my kids love outdoors. We live to go outside. And I've taught my kids from day one. I was just telling this story the other day to another parent. When my son was 5 years old, he wanted his 5th birthday party on top of the mountain. At 5 years old, on top of the mountain, we have what's called Sam's Point Preserve, and it's a 3-mile loop hike that goes up a nice incline. Maybe it's 300-foot incline, maybe 400-foot incline. It's a nice incline up and around this beautiful mountaintop lake. At 5 years old, he goes, that's where I want my 5th birthday. Now, he already knew that existed up there because when he was 4, I was already taking him up there. We were already heading up there. We were hiking around. We were going on small little runs here and there. We were doing things that required being outdoors. And I got to tell you, it's one of his most memorable birthdays because all these people got to hike up. Some of them didn't go. Some of them didn't make it. So we had like the official party out in the parking lot, and then the more adventurous kids went up and hiked. So, Dr. Boxmeyer, visit local nature spots. Audubon parks, state parks, preserves, all kinds of things to expose your children. And whatever part of the country you're in, there's all types of preserves around. There's all types of interesting things where nature is being preserved. Build outdoor time into your family's routine. It is easier to get children to spend time outside when it is valued and a predictable part of their day. That is so true. My kids, we just knew, hey, even to this day, we're like, hey, Wednesday's family day. Wednesday, we're all going out for a hike. We're spending time on the mountain. We're doing this on Wednesday. We're going for this run. We're going for a bike ride here. It's always been a predictable part of our family. Even though my wife and I own a restaurant and we're always busy in this, now we've always stressed the importance of taking the time and predicting when we're going to do things and planning ahead of time. Dress appropriately. So there's no such thing as bad weather, only unsuitable clothing. I would agree with that 100%. It doesn't matter if it's raining out. I've gone outside when it's been pouring rain with my kids because we all have raincoats. I've gone out with them when it's 0 degrees out. I've gone out running with my daughter at nighttime at 10 o'clock at night when it's literally 10 degrees. But we have the proper clothing. So it's even like that without running. I go running. I don't care what the temperature is outside. If it's -2, I'm out there. If it's 20 degrees, I'm out there. If it's 90 degrees, I'm out there. It's all about having the proper equipment, the proper clothing, and then the weather's going to be perfectly fine at that point. So don't worry about it being too cold out. My kids have no problem going out in the cold. My son loves to go skiing. In fact, it's like 5 degrees out. I'm like, Justin, do you really want to go skiing today? And he's like, yeah, of course I want to go, Dad. We got all this ski equipment. I got gloves and I got hats and I got this and that. So dress appropriately. Let your kids get dirty and take risks. I remember when my son Justin was 5, 6, 7, 8, even 9 years old, when we would go running, when we'd go out on a trail, on the street, every single puddle that was there, he'd go through it. That was just his nature. He, bam, right through the puddle. You know, he's a kid. I'm not going to stop him. That's what he loves doing. He loves getting dirty. He loves experimenting. He loves doing all that. Now, our daughter would go around the puddles and this and that, not want to get us dirty. But Justin, no problem getting dirty, getting muddy. That was not his problem whatsoever. So we let him take a lot of risks. Create nature art. Enjoy being creative in an environmentally sustainable way. Use sticks, rocks, leaves to create nature art. Teach your children how to, the importance of this and not letting them destroy their creations. You know, it's just like going out to the beach and making a sand castle, right? That's using, creating nature art. There's a lot of ways you can create nature art with all kinds of sticks and twigs and that kind of stuff, and make signs and do cool things. Let that be part of your child's schedule here. Wonder, experiment, and imagine together. Inspire curiosity by making observations out loud, such as, I wonder why some of the trees still have their leaves on them. Did you notice that too? I noticed a lot of worms out today. I wonder why that is. That is great, 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 because it gets people's mind thinking, and there's a reason for all of this. And, you know, my son and I go out and hunt mushrooms. We hunt the maitake mushroom here in the Northeast, here in New York. And the maitake mushroom grows around red oak trees. Grows around oak trees that are dying or dead, mostly that are just partially dying. So they have leaves on them still. And the neat thing about the red oak is it's the last tree of the year to hold its leaves. So when you're out in the forest, you can look 100 yards and see a red oak tree stand out like a sore thumb in the forest. And we walk right to these trees and look for mushrooms. So they're actually, I don't know what the reason is, but it's interesting that the leaves are still on this particular tree, and they're the last leaves that are on any of the trees in the forest that time of the year. So all these kinds of observations are really, really cool. My son and I do go pick a lot of mushrooms out there, so you really have to be observant, especially to the weather, to the ground, to the slope of the ground, there's so many things that you need to pay attention to when you're looking for mushrooms. What the kind of environment that certain mushrooms like. Live trees, dead trees, fallen over trees, mossy trails, gravel or sand trails. So there's lots of different things. Moist trails, so things that are in ravines. So it's really, really cool. My son and I love going out. And we forage for far more than mushrooms too. We forage for you know, whatever's edible out there. Grow a garden together. That's so valuable for kids, is growing a garden. We have a garden here at the restaurant. My kids have been involved in that since day one. My parents have a garden. My parents have always had fruit trees. And I remember when my daughter was 2 years old, we would drive by my mom's house. My parents live a mile this way, and my in-laws live a mile that way. So everybody's close. But we go to my mom's house, and my daughter would know. We'd go down her road, and she'd start pointing at the house at 2 years old and saying, pick, 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 because she knew you go to grandma's house to pick all the different types of berries my mom had growing, the plums that my mom had growing. My mom had 2 beautiful plum trees, Italian black plum trees, and my daughter would just pick these and eat these like crazy. She knew, pick, 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 and that's things that your kids will always, always remember. Trust me, I remember that as a kid when my parents went out and we picked things and the garden. I remember always have a garden as a kid. Let's see. Incorporate electronic devices. If it is too difficult to leave the electronic devices behind, find a way to include them. This is a great way to do photography, by the way, to take pictures, start a photo album, start a blog. When my kids were 5 and 7, when we went to Puerto Rico, we took a ton of pictures. We didn't have really camera phones back then, but we had electronics. We had regular cameras, and we took tons of pictures. And they actually had their own blog on Blogger about their trip to Puerto Rico, and it was really, really cool that they were able to document this. And of course, this was before Facebook even was really available to the public. So they had their own blog. So we incorporated electronics into this whole Puerto Rico trip in nature and in the forts there. It was really, really cool. Notice the effects of spending time outside. Notice whether you feel more calm and connected when you are spending time outside or doing other activities. Encourage your children to pay attention to this as well. Let your observation guide how you and your family spend time together. Let your observations guide how you and your family spend time together in the future. I know for me, I sit here at this desk. I have 2 computers here. My wife sits in front of me there. I have another office person who sits here, and we're crunching numbers all day, doing promotions and just doing whatever we can in the restaurant to get ready for dinner service. And for me, when I walk out this door and I go for a run, my whole day just relaxes. I can be so stressed out here and doing things, and as soon as I hit the door and hit the street and hit the trail or wherever I go, just to be outside no matter what the temperature is, even in the rain, it's just such a calming effect. A massively calming effect. I meditate from it. I rejuvenate. I come back here I've never gone for a run and come back in a bad mood. Never, ever, ever. I've gone out for runs when I've been in bad moods, but I've returned in a good mood. The melatonin, all these things that happen to your body, it is fantastic. And whether it's a hike or a run or just getting outside and just enjoying nature, I've never come back in a bad mood. The same thing will happen to your kids. You just have to train them. You have to show. You have to lead by example. You have to be dedicated. You have to have predictable times out there, like this article says. It's a great article. Get your kids involved. Get your kids involved in nature. Show them exercise. Show them how to fend for themselves out in the forest. When my kids were very small, probably 5 and 7 or 6 and 8, we actually took a course. Actually, they were smaller. I remember Justin was like 4 at the time. Courtney was younger. We took a course on how to forage edibles. So my son can walk out into our yard, which we don't spray, by the way, out into our yard or out into a field, and he can point out this was when he was 4 years old. He was taught how to be able to eat the grasses, what grasses are edible and what they taste like. And I got to tell you, there's been many times he'll just stop and start sucking on red clover or pick some what appears to be a weed, but is actually a very nutritional or medicinal green that he'll pick up and eat. And he's done this for years, and I do too, because I've taught my kids these things are okay to eat. You know, this is a lawn, but it's a whole living environment. So you don't want to spray your lawn. We haven't sprayed our lawn ever. It's been 15 years organic at our house. The people before us did. But there's nothing ever been sprayed on it since we bought the house 15 years ago. And my kids can walk out and say, hey, this is wood sorrel. We can eat this. These are plantains. We can eat this. Hey, what if I cut myself? You can go get this plantain leaf and wrap this around your cut, and it'll help heal it. So my kids are so good at this, and it's really cool to watch kids grow up in that kind of environment and be able to fend for themselves and just the whole interaction with nature and how they respect nature. They know because we're always out in nature. The article says here about respecting nature, about our resources. They understand that water comes and goes. We can be on a stream, we can be on a trail, and there's a stream there 1 week, and the next week that stream is bone dry for 2, 3, 4 weeks until the rains come in again, because there's no resources. They can see, last year they saw when the whole mountain just basically died because of a moth infestation, and the whole mountain was just eaten alive and everything was brown on it. It was not a good situation. And then they'll experience abundance where you can go out and pick whatever you want, and there's tons of greens and this and that, and they understand that things are so fragile that you have to take care and respect these natural resources. So get your kids out there. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. Thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, and definitely pass it on.